Hey, welcome back to the Wayward Gourmands. This is Keith, and this is my assistant,
Keith.
Today, again, we're still in soup season. This cold just won't go away. So what we're doing today is we're making broccoli cheese soup with cheddar and smoked gouda. I can't wait for you to see this. You've got to try it. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to get the camera back on the pot, and we're going to start putting this together. And then we have a little surprise later on that we're going to serve these in. We're going to show you how to make what?
A bread bowl.
That's right, bread bowls. There's no better way to serve this soup. Be back in a minute. I'll bring it back by the stove. All right, everybody, we're on to the pot. We're going to start by making our roux. We're going to add in our butter. We're going to let that melt down. Fast forward a little bit here. There we go. Now we're going to start putting our flour in, and we're going to whisk this really good, try and get all the lumps out. And you're going to want to cook this for about 3 or 4 minutes to get rid of that floury taste. It's going to, be pretty smooth once that's all incorporated and you get it cooked down. We're going to start adding in our milk. Actually, it's a combination of milk and heavy cream. You could probably substitute this with half and half. We're going to get that whisked in. Add a little bit at first. Make sure you get rid of all the lumps, and then you can add the rest in, and you can ensure yourself you're going to have a nice, smooth, base to the soup. Now, once we're done with that, we're going to get this seasoned with some salt and pepper, get that whisked in, and then we can start adding the other liquids, which is chicken stock. I'm just going to hold this up here a second because at this point you want to make a decision if you want your carrots and onions chunky or if you want them really fine. If you want them chunky, then you're going to need to boil them for about 15 minutes in this chicken broth and then strain them out and be ready to add the chicken broth at this step. This way it'll soften them for later. You're going to see in the next stage, we pureed our carrots and onions nice and fine, and they're going to cook with no problem because this soup doesn't cook that long. That's why I'm suggesting that you cook the onions and carrots ahead of time. Okay, roll it. Now, when you're pouring it in, pour it in smooth, unless you really have a desire to clean your counter, your stove, your cabinets, floor, and possibly ceiling. But I like cleaning up as little as possible afterwards. So I add the broth in, and then the pureed carrots and onion with the minced garlic. And then we're going to break that up. Stir that in a little bit. Once that's all broken up, then we're going to add our broccoli in. And this is also pre-cooked. I steamed it. When you boil it, it kind of takes a bit of the color and everything out of it. So we steamed it, got this added, and then we're going to hit it with the immersion blender to break it up. Now, I held about a cup and a half worth of the broccoli out, and what I did was I had diced it up so we can add it later because you want chunks of broccoli in your broccoli soup. It doesn't have to be totally smooth. And then we could start adding in our cheese. Again, you don't want to dump it all in at once because then you're going to be basically stirring like a soft ball of cheese in there until it totally breaks down. So I add about half of the cheddar in first, then I'll add the second half, and then I'll add the smoked Gouda in finally. So just keep it moving. It'll break down. You could see that it's gotten a lot thicker now that we pureed the broccoli in there. And now it's just going to get even more thicker with the addition of the cheeses. Just fast forwarding this because I don't think you want to just see me stir cheese for 20 minutes. So there's the other cheddar. And now here comes the smoked Gouda. Get that stirred in. Beautiful. Now here's that broccoli I was talking about before that I just kind of chopped up, and that's going to be nice and chunky in there. Get that stirred in, and then we're ready. I mean, this soup is done. You let it go for about 15 minutes maybe on like a medium-low heat because you don't want to scorch the bottom. But other than that, you're ready to eat. Just get a big old spoon and feed your face right out of the pot, or be patient and move on to the next step where we're going to make bread bowls. All right, first step we're going to do is we're going to mix our bread flour with our water, and then we're going to get our instant yeast in there. Now, this is instant yeast. You don't have to bloom it at all. So once that's mixed a little, we're going to add our sugar. And then we're going to be adding a little bit of salt. Now, if it looks a little bit dry, which was this case, the humidity can affect the flour and everything like that. I had to add a little bit more water in there. You may have to adjust it as well, depending on the humidity where you're actually doing this. It only took a tablespoon or two, and then it was the right consistency I expected. And then last but not least, we're adding in the vegetable oil. And then we're going to beat that let that knead for 7-8 minutes. And you can see it becomes this nice, elastic, very supple dough. And then we're going to throw it out on some bench flour, and we're going to give it a quick knead just to get the final working in there. Kneading dough is very therapeutic. If you have any kind of anger or anything to work out, kneading dough definitely helps. You're going to see a consistency change in the dough. It's going to become more supple, and it's going to be very smooth and more elastic. That's you working the gluten, which is going to help with the structure of the dough. Once you're all done with that, we're going to put it in an oiled bowl, turn it around a little bit just to coat it all, and then we're going to cover it with the damp towel, and we're going to let it rise for about 35-40 minutes. Okay, so you just saw how we put the dough together. We covered it with the damp towel. We let it proof and double in size. Now, before we start separating and forming it, we have to punch the dough down.
Can I do it?
Punch the dough down.
Oh, yeah. I think that's
Give it another good shot.
Yeah. Like that?
Yeah, like that.
Wow. It was too soft. I couldn't punch a hole in it. What are you trying to do? Whoa, you're gonna mess up my punch, bro. No, it's Neil's skull though. His eyes. His eyes.
So now we're going to separate this into 8 approximate equal sizes. I mean, it's not precise. We're not mixing chemicals or anything.
Of course you cut mine. How sharp is that? I think I cut dough. It must be super sharp. Because dough is really hard even with scissors. Especially when it's soft. Sorry, this had to.
Okay. Grab a piece.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Get your hands out of there.
Oh, don't sprinkle.
Well, if you're not going to move them, they're getting floured.
At least I can lick some.
Oh, licking flour is kind of gross. It doesn't taste great.
Can I taste it?
No, you're not going to. You have to put your hands on the dough. You can't lick your hands and then put it on the dough. What would the people on the internet think? All right, watch what I'm doing. We're going to make it into a circle. Go ahead. You want to push your fingers in a little bit. Okay, now look. You're going to take it and you're going to start folding it to the middle.
Okay. Like making a paper thing.
Right.
But instead, if it's with food. Oh, I think I messed up.
No, you didn't mess up. Just
there.
Now take this side and mix it in. And then this side.
And fold it in and mix it in.
Okay. Now you see how it's round?
Yeah. And you pick it up. Gonna make a ball. I'm gonna make a ball. I'm gonna make a ball. Well. How do you...
Here, I'll show you.
Wait.
And you pinch it in the back. Right? And now you put it on the counter. Now you don't push down on it. You just roll it between your hands like that. And you see how it becomes a ball? Got it?
It's a smiley ball.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get the rest of these formed. We'll be back in a couple minutes. We're going to let these proof and we'll get them in the oven. Okay, so we finished forming up the dough. We got all of our dough bowls all formed and everything. Now we're going to go for the second proof. It's going to be about 30-35 minutes. We're just going to cover it with our damp towel again. And when they double in size, what we're going to do is we're going to slash the tops, which what that'll do is when they're baking, it'll let them bake up. So you have a nice high bowl. And then we're going to give it an egg wash, get it in the oven, And in about half an hour, we're gonna have nice, beautiful bread bowls. We'll be back in a few.
And also, if you heard Dad say damp towel, damp means that get it wet.
It does. All right, welcome back. We have the bread bowls. They did their second proof for about 35, 40 minutes. It took a little bit longer because it was a little cool in here. But we're ready to slash them, and then we're going to get the egg wash on them.
We are going to reveal the dough balls in 3, 2, 1. Ta-da!
There they are. You see they're nice and puffy. You can tell they're done if you just press lightly and it fills back in. See how the dent fills back in?
What the?
That means they're ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little slash.
You're killing him.
I'm slashing it.
Okay, you're slashing it. Why are you making X?
X is my favorite letter.
Oh.
Stand up.
Okay.
Now, your job is I need you to paint the whole thing with the egg wash. And I'm going to start cutting these.
Okay.
Normally, bakers would use a tool called a lamb, which is kind of like a razor. I just don't have one, and I find a serrated knife to be a lot easier, and it doesn't tear as much, and you get a nice clean cut.
And people do not use real paint on these things.
No.
It would taste disgusting.
It would be the worst bread bowl ever.
It looks like I'm painting, but really I'm using egg wash.
Which is 1 egg white with a tablespoon of water in it, and that's all it is.
It looks like I'm painting it white, I should say clear, but actually I'm really painting egg wash on it.
Absolutely.
I'm really not painting. I gotta paint in there. And booyah. Wait. Okay, now paint the other one.
You've got to get more egg wash on there. We're going to get the egg wash on the rest of these, and we're going to get them in the oven. We're going to do it for 15 minutes first. We're going to check them out, see how the shell is. If it needs it, we're going to brush a little more egg wash on it. What I'm also going to do is at the bottom of my oven, I have a steel pan that I'm going to pour a cup of hot water in. And what that's going to do is that's going to make a steam in the oven. And what that's going to do is that's going to help it form a really nice crust. So we'll be back in a few minutes after we get these in, and we'll show you what it looks like when they're done.
And it doesn't matter how good it looks. All that matters is how good it tastes, really.
Absolutely, but these are going to be gorgeous and taste delicious. Okay, welcome back. You could see our bread bowls came out fantastic. I'm going to show you how to cut one up in a minute. The soup looks fantastic. Garnished it with a little more cheese. I'm going to be tasting that in a couple of seconds. I'm going to show you how to do this. What you do is you want to take a serrated knife. You want these to cool down too, because if they're hot out of the oven and you cut them, the structure is not going to hold. So you're going to cut about, I don't know, about 1/2 inch down from the top. Here, why don't you sink your peepers into that? And then you want to rip out the inside. You want to leave about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch all the way around to give it some structure.
Ooh, just this part's also really good.
Oh yeah? Here, also
I'm looking kid.
That is the bread bowl hollow happy dance that he just did. And there you go. You have a bread bowl.
Oh, it looks
Here,
good.
have some more bread. I'm going to fill this puppy up.
Oh, it does look like a bowl.
And we'll put a little more cheese on top. And there you have it. Broccoli cheese soup with sharp cheddar and smoked gouda in a bread bowl and in a regular bowl. So I already got confirmation that the bread is good. A little more cheese there.
The bread is amazing. You gotta make this at home, kids, and try the bread. This is awesome.
Really thick, nice and creamy. Not overpowering with the cheese or the broccoli. It's nice. It's smooth. You gotta try this. I'll tell you what, we're probably gonna be coming out with a couple more soups while this cold weather lasts. I encourage you to try this. All of the amounts are gonna be in the description below. If you like our videos, please like and subscribe. Make sure that alerts button is on so you get pop-ups whenever we, post videos. This is Keith, and this is my assistant Keith.
Keith.
Thanks again for coming back to the Wayward Gourmands. I'll see you next time.
It's Keith that's eating lots of bread.
He is eating lots of bread. See you next time.
Which one's my